The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy some world-class chess at the FIDE Candidates in Toronto, Canada. Fresh off their second rest day, players were excited to get back to the boards. Coming off a disastrous loss, Gukesh D rebounded, defeating his countrymen to jump back into a tie for first place. In a repeat of the All-American matchup, top seed Fabiano Caruana took a risk with black, and Hikaru Nakamura took advantage, grabbing the win while swapping places with his compatriot in the standings. Front runners have formed. Will they finally pull away, or have they run out of steam? Day 9 of compelling chess, coming up next.
We are here in a very cool area of Toronto. Many bars and restaurants are around. The playing hall is nearby. Today it's Sunday and we are expecting many chess fans to visit the tournament. Let's go to the studio and follow the action.
The Open tournament features a duo of leaders, while the ladies have a trio. Both tournaments are up for grabs, as round 9 starts right now. Hello and welcome everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm your host Nazi Paikidze and I'm here with Grandmasters Yasser Seirawan and Evgeny Miroshnichenko.
Nazi, Miro, are we ready for today's action? Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Boy, I have got to tell you that round 8 featured some incredibly dramatic moments, especially the game between Nakamura and Fabi. We saw also Gukesh conducting a checkmating attack, and in the ladies section, our top leader faltered and lost to her countrywoman. Boy, I tell you, just topsy-turvy, everything happened. Mm-hmm. What happened to the standings? Nazi, do the honors. Tell us where we stand.
The standings have changed a lot.
After round 8.
In the open section, we have 2 co-leaders, Nepomniachtchi and Gukesh, with 5 points.
Right.
And only half a point behind are 2 players, Pragg and Hikaru Nakamura. And the only man with 50% is Fabiano Caruana.
Looks like our challenger is going to come out of those top 5. And how about for the ladies?
In the ladies, we have 3 players sharing first place. Goryachkina, lay in 10 with 5 points. And only Katrina Lagno has +1.
And again, it looks like the challenger is going to come out of the top 4 there. Tell us about the pairings. Let's start with the open for this round 9.
Very exciting day today. We have Vidit playing Hikaru Nakamura, Gukesh playing Pragg, 2 youngsters, Alireza Firouzja against Nepomniachtchi, and Abasov against Caruana.
That field seems a little, the leaders seem a little top-heavy towards the black side. Check a look at that, you see.
Today, 4 out of 5 top players are playing with the black pieces.
Absolutely. And for the ladies' pairings for round 9.
And in the ladies, we have Humpy playing Lagno, Vaishali against Tingjie, Lei playing Salimova, and Muzychuk against Goryachkina.
Oh boy, all just heavyweight battles for sure. The schedule for the remainder of the tournament.
Today, players are playing round 9. After tomorrow, they'll have a rest day. And in case of a tie on the top, we'll have a special day for tie breaks.
Lovely. Miro, as the second half is underway, we peeked ahead and we see some drama in those final rounds coming up.
Absolutely. Yeah, so let me start once again. While we stated it is a very long tournament, yeah, for many tournaments today would be the last round. But as long as it is, players start to realize, well, yeah, not so many rounds left, and already yesterday I would argue we've seen, you know, the elevation of a drama and excitement bar, and possibly at the cost of quality of play. Anyway, so it's only gonna get more exciting, it's only gonna get more tense closer to the last rounds, and starting from round 12, so we will look at 3 last rounds pairings. So round 12, we'll see Hikaru Nakamura having the white pieces against Firouzja. Fabiano Caruana, well, in case he is still in the race, will have white against Vidit, and Nepo will have white against Pragg. So Gukesh will have black, and he's once again one of our main contenders, but this game will also have tremendous importance because he's playing one of the outsiders against Abasov, and yeah, perhaps by that point he might be forced to play for a win even with the black pieces.
Right.
Round 13, well, you can see yourself, Nepo against Hikaru, a very, well, it's a huge clash. This is the game which might decide the destiny of a tournament alone, especially if it's not drawn, right? Gukesh will have white against Firouzja, and Fabi with Pragg with the black pieces, also very
Huge
important game. And if Nepo and Hikaru, if this was not enough in round 13, then in round 14, we will have Fabiano Caruana playing Nepomniachtchi with white,
Right.
and then Hikaru will have white against Gukesh. So we are promised very exciting last round, so I'm just really hoping that, yeah, tournament won't be decided before that.
Exactly.
Right, and on that note, let's hear from Anastasia. What's the news from Toronto? What's happening there?
Hello, Yasser, Nazi, and Miro. We have a really beautiful day here in Toronto. It feels like spring finally. Today it's Sunday, and we're expecting many chess fans in the playing venue, waiting for the players to sign the autographs and take selfies with them. And normally for many round-robin events, it could be the last round today, but not for the candidates tournament. It's only the 9th round, and everything is unclear at this moment. We have 2 leaders in the open section and 3 leaders in the women's section. Will they keep the lead? Will we have new leaders? We will see what will happen today. So let's go back to the studio and follow the action.
Thank you, Anastasia. Indeed, we will keep a close eye on the leaders' game. And let's just jump right into it. Tell us how Vidit and Hikaru are doing, Miro, because when we came on, that game had our attention.
Absolutely. Yeah, so that's the present position, or rather this, I have to say, present position. Vidit just captured the pawn on c5. Computer doesn't like it.
I saw the big fat question mark.
Right. Apparently, once again, we could start analyzing this game as early as move 4, I think. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff was happening.
Right.
But apparently, last couple of moves, Computer was very happy with White's idea to go to g4 with the knight.
Okay.
And yeah, and from what I can see, I don't quite get it, like on a human level, but from what I can see, Computer insists on going f5, so kind of reacting to knight g4, and then, yeah, en passant, knight takes, bishop takes, and jumps with the knight to e5. And then White has the majority on the king side, has ideas with f2, f4 later on. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Computer favors White here.
Okay.
Not much, but like stable advantage. Right, so the move Vidit played instead, rook a3, makes sense, again.
Activating the
Yeah, if we go a little bit back, yeah, so there was a bishop on a2 and black exchanged it, right?
Right.
So bishop a2, rook a2, and rook kind of got stuck on a3, on a2, pardon. So this, yeah, rook a3 in this particular case makes more sense than rook a1. Right, mm-hmm. Because you don't really have that many open files yet, and on the third rank you can choose. You can swing it all over, in some lines, all over to the king side. You can put it on c3 in front of your queen, right? So rook a3 makes sense, c5. And here, once again, Computer is very happy, and this time insists on knight g4 being much better than anything else. And in case of c takes, you just move queen d3, perhaps just likes this setup with the knight on g4. Almost a pawn for White, that's the valuation. Plus, more than a pawn for White, even though White currently is down a pawn, he'll get the pawn back on d4. Valuation is +1 with Black's best play.
Vidit didn't play that, he captured.
So d takes c5, drops significant part of the advantage, or rather would drop, if Black would have played knight f4. Once again, that's Computer suggestion. I don't know what does it mean, but a jump with the knight to f4, and all of a sudden position would have been equal.
Confusing.
Right.
I'll start with rook takes c5.
Now I'm starting to get it. Right. So it was always going to g4 to be able to capture this knight on f4.
Yes.
Yep. And after knight f4, now say I want to go knight g4. Now it supports it with the other knight. So now it's very hard to get rid of this guy on f4. And knight on f4 disturbs a lot. Yeah. Okay, now it makes sense. So knight g4 would pretty much stop knight's appearance on f4, right? Okay, so dc5, and after rook takes c5, rook takes c5.
Not a big fat question
Interestingly,
mark.
yeah. Interestingly, it's back to being in white's favor. Queen to b3, d1, b1. All the same, pretty much. So, well, not a huge shift in not a huge difference in computer's evaluation. Now, after knight f4, b4 is the move computer likes. It's not much, but still values it in white's favor.
Wow, thank you, Miro.
So-
Very, very double-edged position. Following his very dramatic game from yesterday that we were following on pins and needles with Fabi, Anastasia got a chance to interview Hikaru immediately after the game. He had some choice words. Let's take a listen.
First of all, I've played Fabiano a million times, and I've also seen him at many tournaments, so I have a pretty good idea of how he likes to play. And, I mean, I think, lulled him into this false sense. Like, somewhere around here, the game is just equal. He should go bishop e6, make a draw, and whatever, that's life. But when he played knight to f6, and then he went for this. Like, I already knew here that after takes and knight d5, he was trying to keep the game going, but I think objectively it's easier to play for white. Like, I don't want to speak negatively about Fabiano, per se, but I felt like he was treating this game or this position like keep the game going, but in return he's giving me the two bishops. And, I mean, against a 2600, I think this is a very good decision in an open. Like, in the Grand Swiss or something, I would be a big fan of this decision by Fabiano, but in the candidates here, where, I mean, he is a good scorer, to go for something where I think there's very little risk for white and only risk for black, I think is kind of silly.
Silly decision. He paid for it for sure. Let's take a look around the playing hall here as we have a very big development, I want to say, taking place in the game between Alireza and Jan, one of our co-leaders. And as we were coming on air, we were debating this position, and I was asking you, do you like making these trades? And it was sort of like, you thought, well, okay, bishop to d2 and slow play the position. There is this move f5. Spotting that move, Alireza decided to make what I thought was a very sound strategical decision.
Did he need to trade on d6? Because we're looking at immediately bishop d7, queen d7, and f5, and leaving the bishop on d6.
Exactly. In fact, he did not have to just automatically get rid of this knight for this bishop. I suppose you're going to have, as black, to face the same kind of music as in the game. White is definitely going for the g4, h4, g5 expansion, and black is getting on his running sneakers.
But I like that in this extremely closed position to keep the knight on the board.
Right.
So knight on c4, I think maybe Firouzja shouldn't have traded.
It's double-edged. I am not really that sure myself. What I do know, and I feel very strongly about it, is I'd much rather have white in this position. Okay, bishops of opposite color, but you take a look at that light square bishop on h7, and you just say, well, on a good day, you'll reroute it to f7, where it'll do nothing, right? And in the meanwhile, all of the structure is vulnerable to the dark square bishop. I'm going to play g4, h4. Let's see what happened in the game. g4, king f7, h4. Miro and I had been looking at this line too, where we really expected king to go to e7 and maybe something like g5. And then we were having a question. The question we were having amongst ourselves was, like, could you ever get to g7? It's not that easy to get there. And I'm not saying that g5, g6 is the right way of going. How, Miro, does the computer assess the current situation, and is our tournament leader in a serious spot of trouble?
Well, he definitely is in trouble for quite some time already. It's just the question how big of a trouble
Exactly.
there is, right?
Right.
And if I may, I'll drag it all the way back to this decision on what it was, move 13, right? Because, yeah, well, Jan's playing with the black pieces, and kind of fundamentally it feels like d5, d4, the move he played, creating, well, in a couple of moves, what would be looking as a very good King's Indian structure with colors reversed.
Right.
Probably wasn't the best. And yeah, and then we reach this critical, or what we thought was critical position. By the way, bishop d6 is not great. Bishop c1, queen c6. Here, yeah, taking on d7 was very tempting. I can understand Alireza deciding to trade the knight for the bishop as well, because his time is a little bit... So he doesn't want any nonsense in terms of like 0 chances to lose. So here, in both cases, it would be kind of free advantage for white, but here it's even easier. And yeah, well, computer, interestingly, is not that reliable in these positions, up to the point where it would show some forced lines with one side winning. Because, yeah, it tells me, for instance, here, it tells me 0.7 in all the lines, like white is better. But I'm sorry, I know this, right? I can see it myself. So black moves here, rook to h8, preparing for g5. G5, to go g5 himself, and I'm not sure how I feel about this one, because it's an attempt to build the fortress, right? White apparently can't really take here. Funny enough, king takes. Also not trivial, to be honest. Yeah, because I thought, yeah, okay, we take with the bishop. Taking with the bishop is really bad, but king takes.
What?
And computer says it's fine for black. You go g5, you take with the king. So just to guard h6 pawn, otherwise, yeah, the bishop would have taken it.
Right. And queen f5 check, you're going to hang out on h5?
Yeah, you trade. No, queen f5, I'll trade, right?
G takes?
Okay, just to check. I guess king h5, and right you are, Yasser. Yeah, if not for king h5, white would have been much better.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, with such material that we have on the board, king on h5 is absolutely safe.
But black will never take on h4.
Never.
Right.
On h4.
The pawn is the protection.
If we may go back to this position, so the other thing that I had recommended by computer was king e7.
Okay.
But it allows white to go a5 and a5, b5. I wasn't sure because at some point computer wasn't going b5. Yeah, and how to tell? Okay, this is to illustrate my point if computer is reliable or not in this position, because it's claiming white to be better, but do you have, resources to convert it into something? That's a big question, right? They say white later on is going to go g5, black's going to take, then go bishop g8, and let's say you seize all the space, all the space you can, but still, are you able to break through here? Not sure at all. Yeah, well, the line, by the way, is made up because, after g5, black can go g6 and equalize. But
so this is where having the knight would have been very helpful.
You would
prefer to have a knight on c4 against a stupid bishop on b6 in this case, right? Anyway, so to sum up all that, Nepo's in trouble.
7/10 of a pawn doesn't sound like much, but the position is also, talk about that, thank you, Mira. Talk about that with me just a little bit here, Nasi. We know that Nepo is a very active player.
Right.
And he doesn't have the type of position that he should lash out. I mean, even with G7, G5 notwithstanding, that is a double-edged move, I would say. And here he has a passive position. Let's just see how they match up against one another in their heads-to-head, as we don't see that many games between them.
They've had 10 classical games so far, 3 wins for Alireza, 5 losses, and 2 draws. So
a lot more decisive games than you would expect amongst these two players. But I was saying that the position
it's because they're both sharp players.
Yeah, and they really do play hard for the win. I see Jan having to play passively And I think for Alireza, that already is a great success. Again, a dream position is you get to play g5, your king, for whatever reasons, happens to be on g2, or even f2. Pardon me, I should put my king on f2, put my bishop on d2, immediately bring my rooks over to the king side, have my pawn on g5, and life would be good.
Yeah, I don't think Nepo's thinking about winning this game anymore.
No.
He's just hoping he can hold this.
Right.
Time-wise, Nepo does have an advantage. He has 54 minutes against 30.
Interesting point there for just a moment, if I may. If I go king e7, g5 desperately, and my king is a bit exposed too. Can it be that...
Take on f6.
Right, and say king up. Just something like that. I'm just trying to maybe remind...
Probably play bishop... Yeah, I don't like the g-file open.
Exactly. Suddenly, if I have to take bishop takes bishop g5, the open file. So, okay, definitely something to think about. Let's just jump to Fabi's game quickly before we turn to the ladies. Today, oh boy, against Nijat, for Fabi's fans, I've got to say it almost feels like he must win.
Yes.
The disaster yesterday, well, the catastrophe actually from yesterday has put him in a situation where 50% is just not getting it done, and he's got an imbalance with black that, oops, that went too fast. Sorry, apologies to that. He's got an imbalance which actually favors him. The light square bishop versus the dark square bishop. Just a moment there, knight a5.
Tiny bit of an advantage, but maybe he kind of let go of his advantage by move knight c6, even though it looks like a very logical move.
What would you recommend?
Well, it's not my recommendation, but computer was saying a5 with black to not allow white to play a5.
a5?
I guess
Wow.
to fix the white pawn on a4.
To begin with, right? And I don't know, are we going to play rook a6 to b6, or are we going to go knight to d7 to b6? Because in the game, he did play c4 knight, and he was looking to play the move knight a5, and a5 stopped him.
And now Nijat has the setup. We have two more moves. Black played rook d7 and bishop c3, and it looks like Nijat has a good setup. So his weakness is on c4, but
Which
black cannot really attack it anymore.
Exactly, he can cover the weakness. We do have rook to d8, by the way, on the board. I'm not sure it's a threat, but intimating that it might be, and then rook a4. I don't know. Let's take a pause from the open section and turn to our ladies and see what we have.
We actually have a result.
Oh.
The tournament leader Tingjie, after losing a devastating game yesterday, comes back and wins her game.
Oh, she
very
did?
Quickly.
Oh, well, that happened very
pieces.
fast. With the black pieces. Against Vishali, who's actually kind of tumbling. Vishali was doing pretty okay, I think, through 3-4 rounds. But the last few have not been
Some
very...
big blunder today.
Okay, bishop a3. Let's just quickly get to a key moment here.
The pawn on d4 just remained hanging, and
and so did the knight. Oops. That's done. Done and dusted. Oops.
and two rooks are forked. So yeah, game over.
Wow. Wow. Well, let's just update the standings because we had 3 players tied for first coming in to the round.
And yeah, we already have one result. Tingjie won her game and extends her lead. We'll see if Goryachkina and Lei can keep up with her.
Wow. Well, let's just jump to the game between. Boy, I was about to say we just went into an ending. Aleksandra has, well, a knight versus 3 pawns.
Not sure how to evaluate this.
But the knight looks dominant here, doesn't it? I mean, this is.
So you think it's possible for Aleksandra to win most of the pawns and play for the win?
Absolutely, absolutely. I would. My first impression is this is almost lost, actually, because the knight is going to be so fabulous once it lands on this f5 square. The whole majority for white on the king side is bad. I don't know, 3 pawns, Miro, but I'm thinking Aleksandra is the one in the driver's seat here.
Should be, I believe, should be a draw with precise play, but
with precise play.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. And she was close to winning previously. I'm just checking.
Yes.
It's a very long line. I'm surprised that Muzychuk played so fast, to be honest, because they are on move 38. They are on move 38.
Zip, zip, zip.
And this was the moment on move 33 where apparently knight d8 was much stronger, knight d8 to e6.
Defend some pawns.
And so on. Yeah, and computer is really in favor of this move. And after rook a8, it simplifies a lot. Black kind of gets rid of his weaknesses, but also gets pieces activated. So here is the thing. c3, king g4, king g2. Computer not impressed. Slightly better for black, but that's about it.
Wow, I would have thought that black is doing a lot better than what the
I think it's
computer's
the
saying.
weakness of the g6 pawn. So
Absolutely. Well, so the motive here is that after, say, king g4, knight f5, white goes with check, 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 check.
Check, check, check.
Yeah, not checkmated. So this little dude on h2 is very important. Otherwise,
Right.
rook g3 checkmate. So something like that, yes. And then white goes check, and white goes check. And I guess not to lose the g6, you will have to block with the knight, and then the white's gonna push the pawn. So very likely a draw.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Let's just jump to the game of Humpy and Kate for just a moment, because this seems a lot more sedate than the one we just saw. Catch up with the players quickly.
I really like Humpy's queen on d4. It's a very nice piece.
Certainly.
And
Yeah, I like white.
Absolutely
Pawn is far more vulnerable, and there is bishop b2. And I love this d4 outpost. Definitely liking her position here. And then finally, let's just take a look at this game of Lee.
Lee against Salimova.
Wow.
So many entries already.
They don't make it easy. They don't play pattern chess here. What is going on?
This was a very strange opening.
Well, okay, let's just see how they got it. Okay, it's a Philidor with
early e5 and g4, h4, so very aggressive play from Lee. And I believe at some point she was much better.
Just tell me when. Don't know.
I think it was before the queens got traded.
Before the queens got traded.
Move
Somewhere.
16. Here, bishop d2 was not a
Was
great
not
move.
optimal
g6 was computer suggestion and gives white a significant advantage.
after g6. I almost dare ask exactly why this is the significant advantage, but okay, g6. I mean, we put our rook on g1 with purpose, right?
Very unusual position. It's hard to evaluate when you don't recognize the pattern.
Exactly. It'll take some time to get caught up with the players. We are here, and it does seem to me that the game is a little bit balanced. I might actually slightly prefer black, just because I do like the fact that black controls the open file, whereas this rook is, I don't know if I want to say defensive or not. It does stop bishop g4. I don't know.
And maybe the king in the center is actually not that bad.
Yeah, king on
on
e7
e7.
is going to be okay.
It's objectively equal.
Yeah. Miro, I see that you've got Fabi's position on your board. Is this the
right.
moment where a5 was missed? This
Yeah,
is the
it
one-
seems so. It
Yeah?
seems so, because even when I first seen that computer recommends it, I was a bit surprised, to be honest, yes, but apparently a5 was indeed very, very strong. And I remember you were talking some justification of, okay, maybe rook comes fast to d6 or something. It's just it's a setup, because I've made a few moves here with white opting for pretty much the same setup Abasov went in the game. So put the bishop on c3, black naturally replies with knight c6, rook c1, rook d7, rook a, b1, knight to b4.
Right.
So to highlight how terrible White's situation is that like one of the lines it was giving to go g4 to give a pawn for free. Which you just, or rather I don't understand what it means. But yeah, it's just that White's running out of moves, strangely. Like rook Black's going to put the rook on d8, and yes, something on d3, like very likely rook on d3, and some knight a2 threats. So let's say White's going to go back, and Black puts the rook here. So the advantage, from what I see, the advantage for Black is growing and growing and growing. So, okay, maybe rook d8 wasn't the most clever thing. Okay, apparently b6 is needed to avoid some. But anyway, so that means it's not, not the forced one chance line that Black had to see start to finish, but simply to recognize that this pattern, this setup on the king side or on the queen side is favorable for Black. Because usually, and Yasser would agree with this, we would refer to this one, pawn on b7, as a backward pawn, and perhaps even criticize people for making a move like a5. Right. But the presence of opposite colored bishops makes it absolutely different, because now this bishop, till the end of the game pretty much, attacks the c4 pawn, and if needed, the a4 pawn. Right. And the position we have right now, computer has is absolutely equal.
So as I understand, if the white pawn remained on a4, white would have two weaknesses, a4 and c4. And now it's just c4, and it's very easy to defend, and Black's advantage completely disappeared.
Yeah, also the knight b4 motif.
Right, and the d3 square.
Because here you can always take go rook b1, okay, maybe guard the knight first, but it will be a weak pawn. And then it's a very nice outpost for the knight, supported with two pawns, and white pretty much never can take it.
Well, I never miss an opportunity to besmirch Nimzovich, but Aaron Nimzovich has, destroyed generations of players. But the idea of Nimzovich would be in this position that a5 would be a mistake, because you have a majority on the queen side against these pawns, and so you want to create a passed pawn. You want to keep a candidate passer.
There are exceptions to every rule, right?
Well, there you go. And Nimzovich didn't allow for that, by the way. But a7, a5 does hamper or handicap your majority. And just as Miro was saying, the classicus would say you've created a backward pawn, but the advantages of doing that far outweigh the disadvantages, including putting your knight on b4. And just as you said, now you have two weaknesses.
Long-term weaknesses, too.
Permanently a4 and a c4. That is not the case in the game when knight c6, a5, and it appears that after this move, rook to b1, we also have ideas of our own, including rook to b5. Rook to b5, if I could provoke the move b6, of course, then I've got a weakness that I could attack.
In hindsight, it's very clear allowing white pawn to go to a5 was a mistake.
Yes. Isn't it annoying in hindsight how everything is so obvious in hindsight? 2020, absolutely. I want to jump to... Oh, sorry.
We haven't actually checked our tournament leaders game, Gukesh against Pragg.
All right.
Co-leader.
Let's do that. We'll jump to that game. And let's see. In fact, we haven't seen it at all. It comes from a Berlin... Well, it's not actually a Berlin.
No, it was
it's
Rui
with
Lopez
a6.
with delayed exchange on c6.
Delayed exchange, right. Okay, and then, strangely enough, they get a bishops of opposite color position as well with f4, and I was joking that this is one of the best King's Gambit's positions for white that I've seen in a long while. You've won back your pawn on f4. Castles, rook e1, and let's just kind of get caught up with the players. Again, the presence of opposite colored bishops.
I like how Gukesh maneuvered his pieces, and probably white doesn't have a big advantage, but he's definitely trying. Maybe knight's going to f5.
Right.
to put pressure on d6, and
It,
yeah, this is very pleasant for white.
Right. It's almost sad that this bishop isn't on c1, ready to pounce with bishop takes h6. Before I would be, I'd be a little reluctant to play knight e3 because in some ways I like this knight here. Like, I mean, obviously after a terrible move like rook f6, you're not going to capture. But I am thinking that I would like to exploit this somehow, like.
But knight on f5 would do so much
more damage. Yeah, with
so
the
I
knight.
think if white plays knight e3 here, black probably has to play knight e7.
No question about it. I have to keep your knight out of.
And then we
f5.
just need to get the queen somehow on h5, bishop on f4, and then checkmate.
And then checkmate.
Easier said than done, but
Not so bad. And by the way, just to remind everybody, in their initial matchup in round 2, it was Gukesh who defeated Prague, pushed Prague into a minus score.
with the black pieces.
Yeah, exactly. And how do they match up, these two players?
Take a look. Not that many games.
No way. I can't believe. I think these guys must have played each other dozens of
Since they
games
were
in like
5 years
little
old.
kids in India, been playing blitz matches against one another. But not
Pretty
much
even. Gukesh is
between them.
+1, probably just from this tournament.
Exactly. Jump in on this one, Miro. A lot to be said for knight e3, eyeballing knight e7, but is this a moment that white could maybe finagle something? Rook f5, rook h5? It's asking too
Well,
much?
you know, one of the moves the board suggests, and that probably should give us
An indication.
yeah, kind of an idea that the position is not as winning, as attractive as it is. Yeah, rook b1, which by the way was played, and I'm impressed.
That was the top.
Because it was one of the top moves. Knight e3, your suggestion was good, yes, and the appearance of knight on f5 perhaps you can't tolerate, but black has knight e7.
Right, just
And,
maintaining.
Overall, it's half a pawn for white, in white's favor, plus 0.5 in many tries, many attempts. And simultaneously, while you were talking about, rook f6, nice trick, I checked it and it doesn't lose for white.
I thought it was
I mean,
losing to
obviously,
h5.
after rook a6, you can always return.
c6, yeah.
You can always return,
Right.
of course, but I went further than this.
I
I went
wanted
further
to
than
press.
this, yes, went rook f1. Now you'd be surprised if black doesn't go h5, he has to resign. So h5, going after the knight.
See, the knight
Going
of g4.
after the knight, and this is a little bit sad because you have to kind of inefficiently sacrifice the knight.
Right.
You have to go knight h6, pawn takes, and go queen d2. Here, once again, white would be probably having an advantage after moves like king g7 and so on and so forth, but black has d5. And again, according to the machine, we trade, we take on d5, and the resulting position is equal. Well, there is nothing equal about this position.
Not
The
at all.
evaluation is equal, right? So that means white still has counter chances even though he sacrificed the piece. I
so
think
confused.
a
I was
lot
thinking
of
it would be
it comes
black
from black's bishop on a6, being absolutely stupid.
Very strange.
That's why I'm keeping my mouth zipped, because I'm like you, I'm thinking I'm a piece up. But white has blundered.
Yeah, so rook b1, and now, black can try rook a3, but I think much more likely he's gonna go rook a6, knight e3, and then once again, these jumps have to be stopped, so knight e7. And I still can't figure out, like looking at computer lines, I can't figure out, the pattern, what white's going for. A little bit of king h2 or queen e2 in order to play queen b2 on the next move. So computer clearly favors white. But again, if you think of it, it's more of a jumping around. There is no strategic plan of advancing this pawn or that pawn. Yeah?
Right.
So it might be temporarily this kind of initiative, right? So you have the initiative, black is on the defensive, but he plays a couple of moves, doesn't lose a pawn, doesn't lose
a piece.
so doesn't lose material,
I agree
and all of
with
a sudden position equalizes, which by the way, if you'd allow me, is very likely the case in this game, Alireza Firouzja against Nepo. as much as it looks attractive.
It does look attractive.
It does look attractive for white, and computer is very happy with affiliation and so on. But yeah, okay. Yeah, Nepo's last move, I refused to take responsibility. I wanted to look at this position because I thought he's done a clever thing. So he went a5, and now for white it will be almost impossible to
break up in the queen
to break
side.
up in the queen side. Yes,
Right.
and after say we're just going to go bishop g8, g5, take once, and then
Wait.
well, wait, shuffle.
Right.
Yeah, and it likes it a lot, and it says, yeah, white's better, white's better. But it's not so many weaknesses black has to take care of, right? So I wouldn't be so sure. I understand white's better and he's pushing, but quite possibly
I'm
black would have
curious, does
hold.
engine suggest white king should also go to the queen
Yeah,
side?
yeah, I think you run with the king
Oh, definitely.
all the way to b2.
Yeah.
And now, after rook h8, apparently there's the moment where white has to go g5.
Indeed.
Because if you take,
bishop
you no
G8.
longer can play bishop g8. So you would think, that's interesting, right? After rook h8, you would think you're preparing to get the h-file open.
Right.
But you self-pinning yourself with, I don't know, many pieces on the h-file.
So the only thing that makes sense is that after g5, you play bishop g8.
Bishop
immediately.
g8, it says bishop g8 immediately, and then another
G6.
very curious moment. Right, because white's going to go g6.
You're a rook down.
And
You
bishop.
are technically you're a rook down. Yeah, the rook. I mean, okay. If we drag it here, black
okay.
should be fine.
Right.
With the rook on h8, black is less fine because it's very hard to kind of extract this rook from the corner. But on the other hand, how do you win with white?
I
Well,
go
remove all
rook
the pieces and play
b1.
c3 and b4.
Exactly.
No, wait a second. c3, I'm going to take. Right?
That's okay. So
You'll
we'll go
have to sacrifice a piece.
At some point.
No. I'll go rook b1.
Okay, black does something.
Wait. Yeah.
No, I mean structure-wise.
black to
No,
move.
it's black to move. Anyway, king b7.
Rook
let's say.
b1.
Rook b1. Yeah, structure-wise, it's not very easy to break through. I mean, it's impossible to break through without a pawn sacrifice, right?
But
or piece sacrifice, rather.
Why is it so okay, so I'll
it's a
go
6
for
for black.
argument's sake c3 now.
Yeah. So let me promise that. Okay, again, black has to play a
Right.
random move. So let me promise. So whenever the c pawn is moved, I'm
take it.
capturing it, right?
Right.
And something like this happens.
And then you're saying you're going to have to sacrifice a
You're
piece.
going to have to sacrifice a piece. And the moment you, and this becomes like, a very intricate position because,
Right.
like, yes, I can see you double on the b file, you go b4, sacrifice the bishop, all of a sudden have the attack. But
right.
the moment white sacrifices the bishop, black can think of, okay, I'll just sacrifice the bishop to get
As
my
well.
rook back into play.
Right.
So it is much better for white, no questions asked. But is white winning? Still not clear.
A lot of work is.
Absolutely.
Let me just jump, if you don't mind. I'll jump to the game of Vidit and Hikaru just to catch up on them. When we had left it rook takes c5. Intriguingly, the computer was really advocating for knight f4, not recapturing right away. Hikaru did the human move, rook takes, queen d1, knight f4. And here I think Miro was advocating, again,
For b4?
for the engine playing b4. He did play b4, back,
I'm
takes.
surprised by Hikaru's rook c8 sacrifice in the pawn.
What did you like?
A takes b, and then move the rook.
You're a simple girl, a material girl. Bishop takes, and where would you like to move the rook? I assume
c8
that way?
probably.
Okay. Now here, can I play for the, no, I don't see how I play for the f5 square.
Right, white pieces kind of are not harmonized.
True.
Because in
Sorry.
the current position, I'm not seeing how Hikaru gets the pawn back right away. Maybe he has knight c6 and he's going for e5 pawn.
In this position,
No,
or in the
current
game position.
Right.
I'm not sure why he didn't do that. He did purposefully sacrifice the pawn. I'm certain of that. And you were expecting knight c6, right?
I
Okay.
think that's his idea.
You're hitting your bingo bongo, right?
But I can play bishop c3.
Okay, makes sense.
And can you take on e5?
Let's have a look. Takes, takes, takes. At the end of the day, I can hit the king side with
I think there
knight
might be
g4.
some knight g4 tactics, right?
Right, exactly.
Rook e1 does come with the check.
And there's rook c1. Ooh.
Ooh, but that's
But there's,
okay.
but there's knight d7,
Yeah.
pardon me, knight f6. So you've got to keep an eye on all of this stuff. Don't know what to say about this. This is the current position, by the way. Miro, jump in on a game that looked to be tepid, but suddenly flared open. Bishop
Yeah.
takes a5.
It is confusing indeed, yeah, because there was nothing wrong with what Nazi was suggesting to take on b4 first.
Right.
And if to move the rook, computer prefer to go to c6, not c8. And once again, it's not that easy to tell what's the trick. So if it would capture rook c8, computer likes capturing the knight.
Okay.
And in case rook takes, goes queen b1 and aims
I
for
was
an
looking
f5
at
square.
f5 square,
But
yeah.
once again, it's not much. It's not much for white. After rook c8, takes, bishop a5. Well, knight c6 apparently is the strongest move. Bishop c3.
Which is why Hikaru didn't put his rook on c6. He
Yeah,
wanted
and
to play knight.
then something tricky starts happening. Because computer likes rook c to d8, but at the same time you can take on e5. But you have to do it with the bishop, interestingly. If you take with the knight, then once again, don't quote me on this, quote the computer.
Right.
Takes, and knight to d5, and this is
a pawn.
much better for white.
And this is a pawn.
Because you have to simplify, I guess. Like, so queen d5, and it's just trade, and it's healthy extra pawn.
Very healthy.
Passed pawn. But hang on, but bishop e5 somehow works, and if we go for the same route. Rook a8 or knight b6, something. No, I'm still not convinced. White still looks better to me.
Right.
The computer drops the valuation lower and lower, so apparently there is something, but it does look better. Oh yeah, bishop c3, trade, rook a8, eventually perhaps winning the pawn back. What I want to say, so I don't think Hikaru is very happy with this type of continuation. And he might be looking at various moves like rook to a8, to make it more complex.
We just saw bishop c3, by the way, so the players have caught up with you on...
Knight c6 and bishop c3, right.
Yeah. So bishop c3, but that move, rook c8 to d8,
To d8, yeah.
that has Hikaru written all over it. It's like a dirty little move that has a dollop of poison. You want to play the move d5, d4, and yes, of course you want to win back the pawn as well. So, by the way, if I've got this right,
think you just made a
knight
bad
takes e5, not bishop takes e5, what you prescribed. Bishop takes e5 box or force, as we
Wow,
would say.
and that's a bad move.
Knight takes e5 allows Vidit that very strong capture. Bishop takes e5, bishop takes e5, knight takes d5. Oh, those discovered attacks, Nazi. And this looks great for white.
Healthy extra pawn and a good position.
Definitely. Oh, boy. What on earth did Hikaru...
But Vidit needs to find bishop takes e5 because instinctively you want to take with the knight.
Yes. Yes, you
And
do.
we're looking at that line with knight g4, but it's probably not enough.
Right, but at the same time, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, you desperately want to win a pawn, right? So you start looking at all kinds of captures, and then it suddenly occurs to you that, wait a minute, the rook on e1 has a discovered attack against whatever piece there is on e5. Bishop takes e5, bishop takes e5. Knight takes d5, and I understand we have some results.
In the
Let's
latest
break away
section,
from
we
this
have a
game.
draw between Goryachkina and Muzychuk.
The game that I thought Aleksandra might with the knight
knight.
versus the pawns, that ended up being a draw. Yeah.
And in the current standings, we have Tingjie leading the tournament alone with 6 points, and Goryachkina now falling behind by half a point in second place.
Right. Very, very good. Any results, by the way, in the open state? They're all at play. They're all at play. What to say about this one? Could you bring us up to date on the game between Alireza and?
Yeah. So after. We were
Please.
looking at the g6, and we're not sure if White could win that, but
Right.
Alireza just took on h6 and opened the g-file. So he plans to probably triple on g-file and try to find a way to break through this fortress.
Right. For me, when I studied the games of Tigran Petrosian and many other great grandmasters, they didn't even hesitate. They put a rook on g1 and they put a rook on
G6,
g6 as
definitely.
fast as you possibly
Absolutely,
can.
that's what you do.
That's what those guys
I vote
did.
for it.
Bring us up to date, Miro. What's going on in this game?
Well,
It's crucial.
Let me check. Yeah. So once again, computer, if you let it, would probably go g6.
Right.
Even though, yeah, now it starts to realize that what Alireza done is a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Right. So still much better for White.
Okay.
And Yasser, sometimes those good players of the past, they were not wrong.
They
Rook
knew
g6 is the strongest move in the position.
They
So-
knew something.
Absolutely. After bishop takes,
I would take
the
with the
f pawn takes. Right, and ideally, in a situation like that, you want to have a knight. The same knight from c4 would come in handy
Yes,
against black's bishop on d6. So
okay.
once again, we will,
That would
going
be
to
an
come back and
overkill.
criticize Alireza's decision to
Right.
trade. But jokes aside, this still looks very, very nice for White. I mean, there is zero chance White loses this,
Right.
despite being an exchange down. And the possible plan, and regrettably I can't really draw on this board, but the possible plan would be queen to g3, put the rook on f5, put the queen behind the rook, and then, I would argue, still run all the way to b2 with the king. So that the king is safe the moment you start taking
really
the
press.
pawns. Yeah, you can get, say, rook on f. Okay, I'll just skip few moves. Say,
apologies to our viewers.
just to show how it can be done. And then the
Right.
king runs all the way to b2.
Nice.
And
king
then
move.
there is bishop e1, bishop h4 if you need attack f2, f6. And the only question is if black is able to defend, like, because you lose one pawn, I think you lose
Then
the game
it's-
pretty much immediately.
then it's
Everything
gone.
falls.
Right.
And this is happening on the board. We have rook g6, bishop takes, and f takes.
F takes.
Live.
Yeah. All
The
play.
question, was black forced to take on g6?
How long can you tolerate it, right? I mean, maybe it wasn't forced to take immediately, but what do you do otherwise?
Yeah. At a
White just
certain moment.
doesn't leave.
Yeah, king f2, and you might be just simply tempted to play rook takes h6. This current position, bishop takes, pawn takes, we love it, you know, positional warmth and all of that good stuff, but I mean, it isn't a whole exchange, right? And like,
Also, Firouzja has 11 minutes, but only for 6 moves, so he's fine time-wise. I'm sure he won't make any big decisions now until move 40.
okay.
And so is this, according to the computer, actually winning for White?
138 plus 138.
That's one.
So what we know from
Our classical training.
knowledge of the game, the rook is 5 pawns and the bishop is 3.
Right.
Right. So it would be like if no other factors would be involved, it would be -2. So White's positional achievements are worse 2 pawns plus the evaluation, right? So
Right.
almost 3 pawns for, I don't know, having perhaps very strong G6 pawn is one
And
thing.
can we check on Hikaru? Did Vidit find bishop?
Yes, he
e5?
did.
Yes, Vidit
Knight.
has played bishop e5.
Bishop e5 and knight d5, so the crucial
So
back-to-back moves.
This player's Vidit lost a painful game yesterday, and Hikaru won a fantastic game.
Right.
And yet,
The roles are reversed,
Yeah.
right? And also, I just wanted to say that for Alireza, I mean, he is really playing a destructive role. I mean, he defeated who did he defeated Prague. He had drawn, essentially if he were to win it today, he would have scored 2.5 out of 3, having this terrible, terrible start.
Right. Okay, he beat Gukesh. Oh.
Yeah, that's
okay.
What
That
I
was
meant.
a dramatic game.
So he beat Gukesh, a tournament co-leader. Potentially he could win against Nepo today, a tournament co-leader, and he's on the bottom of the field.
Absolutely.
Within the top 2.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive. Let's just talk about the current position of Vidit for a moment. He's got 23 minutes against Hikaru's 26. But what we're discussing is, well, queen takes d5, queen takes d5, knight takes d5, and as Miro explained in his expert opinion, white was a pawn up. LP pawn
Correct.
Correct. That, by the way, is an insider's joke. What Soviet World Championship was going on that the chess journalist asked?
I'm not sure who were the players,
Right.
but there was an adjourned game in one of the important matches, and one of the, say, commentators or maybe demonstrator, there was a role as a demonstrator, right, on all these pieces in a foyer of a theater they would be playing.
Yeah.
And I believe it was a journalist from one of the big Soviet magazines like Pravda or such. So he had no idea about sports in general, God forbid chess in particular, right? So he addressed someone, what's the evaluation of the game that was adjourned, right? And maybe you'll tell later what adjourned means.
Right.
And yeah, he's gotten an opinion of master, international one. No, he wasn't international, was Soviet master, Muzychuk. Also, the name is funny, right? And he written in the paper, so according to the expert opinion of international master Muzychuk, white is a pawn up. So basically, the guy couldn't calculate what's on the board.
My expert opinion.
Yeah, so in my expert opinion, Vidit is a pawn up, right? You are.
Takes d5.
And the position is not very promising for Hikaru.
No.
Because very often, and I think it's not, well, Hikaru's specifically, the moment he loses the material, he's also very dangerous because he finds, the tricks and so on. All of a sudden, his pieces are very active. Here,
the pieces are traded off.
You have to really stretch it to find any kind of tricks for black, because what black ends up doing in most of the I don't know, for whatever reason, queen d6 is a clever move. I just got it. Yeah, queen d6 is a clever move. It would be cool if Hikaru finds it. You are hitting the rook, but after knight e5, guess what? You're not taking the rook because knight f6. Now, it doesn't make any sense, but you kind of lose the tempo on queen d6 and then taking on d5. The only reason being that you keep one extra set of rooks on the board. So that's actually super clever because, once again, if black was, after knight d5, if black was to take immediately, right, and go rook e5, and let's pretend, take on e5, then you have one pair, one rook each, and white's rook very nicely placed behind the passed pawn.
Exactly.
Right, and then imagine a pair of rooks, and white's knight is pinned, so it gives black more chances, but still white's much better.
Absolutely, and we've reached that stage in our broadcast where we check in on our friends on Q Boutique as we prepare for our break. But here it is. Gear up in the newest apparel from the St. Louis Chess Club with this official branded puffy vest. Features the Chess Club's signature logo across the left breast pocket, and it is available at qboutiquestl.com. And as we go on break, Sharon Carpenter has been visiting with Fabi. And today, she asks him about his nickname. Take a listen, and we'll see you on the other side of this break. What a change for Hikaru.
When I was doing a bunch of research into you, I came across a couple of nicknames. One of your nicknames was the Machine, the Italian Stallion. If you could come up, well, you can come up with your own nickname for yourself right now. We can start your new nickname, right? But this period of time in your chess career, what do you think
what's a good nickname for you? I saw Maurice calling you Fabulous Fabby, I think.
I'll leave that to other people if they want to come up
You're
with
not going to come up with your own nickname.
Yeah,
You won't take control of that one.
I think the machine thing was sort of a joke. I had a chess coach who liked to give kind of teasing nicknames to different players, including me. So that was sort of a way to tease me.
Gotcha.
And I don't know if it really caught on, but that was, yeah. I'm not sure any of these nicknames I would definitely love, but yeah, I'll leave it to everyone else.
The stages are set, the players are primed, the best of the best are ready to face off in the 2024 Grand Chess Tour. The top players in the world prepare to battle across 4 countries for a $1.5 million prize fund. Everything starts in Warsaw with the Superbet Rapid and Blitz Poland. Then off to Bucharest for the Superbet Chess Classic Romania. The players then travel to Zagreb for the Super United Rapid and Blitz Croatia. The tour concludes with back-to-back events in St. Louis, Missouri, the chess capital of America, for the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz and the Sinkfield Cup. 9 players will go in, but only one can be crowned champion. Who is prepared to make history? Get ready for the return of the Grand Chess Tour. The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. championships, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today. The St. Louis Chess Club Scholastic Program brings the educational value of chess to kids in schools across the St. Louis area. Active in over 100 schools throughout the St. Louis City and County, the St. Louis Chess Club has been able to reach over 85,000 students in both in-school and after-school programs. We view chess as a valuable educational tool. Learn more about our scholastic programming by visiting stlouischessclub.org/education. In the world of collegiate chess, there is no team rising quite like the one at the University of Missouri. The team has brought home title after title, including the 2024 Pan American Intercollegiate Championship, the first time ever in school history. Guided by their head coach, Christian Carilla, there is no stopping the Tigers. Respect, responsibility, discovery, excellence. University of Missouri.
The World Chess Hall of Fame, located in the heart of St. Louis's historic Central West End. Want to know why chess has intrigued people around the world for nearly 1,500 years? Stop by and learn about the impact of chess from our 3 floors showcasing the art, culture, and history of the game. The World Chess Hall of Fame has something for everyone to enjoy. For more information on current exhibits, please visit worldchesshof.org. St. Louis, the chess capital of the United States. It also plays host to an award-winning shop dedicated to chess merchandise, all-occasion gifts, and plenty more. At Q Boutique, you can shop both in-store and online. From quirky greeting cards to luxury chess sets, there is something for everyone at Q Boutique. Enjoy a shopping experience like no other. Make sure to check out QBoutiqueSTL.com for a wide variety of gifts for everyone to enjoy.
At St. Louis University, chess and success go hand in hand. Founded in 2016, the St. Louis University chess team has risen to become recognized as one of the best in the nation, bringing home multiple titles, including the National Championship in 2022. With members from 9 countries and led by Grandmasters Firouzja and Darius Fierks, the future is bright for the SLU chess team. Higher purpose, greater good. St. Louis University. The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States and is among the best in the world. Thanks to co-founders Dr. Jeannie Cairns Sinkfield and Rex Sinkfield. The St. Louis Chess Club is a non-profit organization committed to promoting the game of chess locally and internationally. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area, promoting cognitive development, critical thinking, concentration, and analytical skills. The St. Louis Chess Club welcomes chess lovers of any age and skill level to come and enjoy the game of chess. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. Championships and the American Cup, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players, including the prestigious Sinkfield Cup, Cairns Cup, and many more. All tournaments can be streamed via our YouTube and Twitch channels that also include over 2,000 chess lectures for anyone to enjoy. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, merchandise discounts, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today.
The World Chess Hall of Fame, located in the heart of St. Louis's historic Central West End. Want to know why chess has intrigued people around the world for nearly 1,500 years? Stop by and learn about the impact of chess from our 3 floors showcasing the art, culture, and history of the game. Landmarked by the world's largest chess piece sitting outside our front door, the World Chess Hall of Fame has something for everyone to enjoy, including various exhibitions, monthly concerts, and much more. Whether you are a beginner or a professional, there is something for everyone to learn here at the World Chess Hall of Fame. Enjoy free admission to our rotating exhibitions in our galleries and sign up for chess events, family-friendly programming, and art classes. And don't forget to stop by our award-winning gift shop, Q Boutique, and shop a wide selection of chess-related merchandise. For more information on current exhibits, please visit worldchesshof.org.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a very exciting round going on.
Absolutely. Let's just jump into the round and take a look at our standings as we break down the action so far in the tournament. No results thus far in this round 8. Those were the standings after 8 rounds, but in the games, no results.
Yes, so right now Nepo and Gukesh are still leading the tournament, and Pragg and Hikaru sharing third.
Exactly. And in the ladies, we do have some results.
Yes, we have Tingjie extending her lead because she won her game against Vaishali, and Goryachkina drew her game against Muzychuk, so now she's half point behind Tang.
And it sure looked to us as though Aleksandra had some fantastic chances of winning her game and being tied for first. That's not the case. And Lee and Kate, I think, are still hard at battle. But we've got some great battles going on, especially in the game between Alireza and Jan. And when we left it, I just have the feeling that Alireza has misplaced his pieces. He played bishop e1.
Yes.
Ever since rook
you
g6.
ask me. Yeah.
Yeah, ever since rook g6.
Well, the computer's opinion.
No.
Again, I'm not sure if what computer was telling us is 100% correct, because it was never kind of going too much in the white's favor, and that would be the case if, say, white wins one of the pawns, and as we discussed, like everything collapses.
Right.
So apparently bishop e1 wasn't the greatest. So the moves computer was suggesting was to go king g2 or queen to f5, and this is an interesting one that we might want to touch, because, say, after rook f5, rook e6,
for example,
white has this funny resource of capturing. No, he doesn't. I've hallucinated. In some case, it was.
I think
right?
it's g7.
Yeah, you can go g7 and take on h6.
Exactly.
And, like, you have 2 connected passed pawns, but the pawn cannot jump over the bishop, and you can't really drive it back because g7 would be lost.
Right.
So in this case, even though white pawns are very, very close to promotion square, all of a sudden computer says, no, this is equal.
Right.
Equal as in fortress and a draw. So black will just come with the king to f7 and so on. So while over here, computer computer's evaluation is very optimistic for white, I strongly suspect that it could be that black is holding. And in a current situation, right, so white has made some progress, black kind of regrouped. It's not clear what white can do. Well, it looks very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you built up everything, but I'm thinking you put your queen on g7 and you just shuffle your king back and forth between
go here.
e7 and d6, and you say, if you put your bishop on c1 and your queen
If
on
you
d5,
attack this,
I'll go back.
I will go rook h8.
Right.
But for this, you also have to spend a lot of time with white to attack it twice, right?
Exactly.
While you're targeting f6, I'll be standing like this.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
once again, we see another remarkable save
Nepo.
by Nepo. I mean, he simply does not lose games.
Not in the candidates.
Not in the candidates. And that has been his formula to success as he remains undefeated. And he's just played the move queen to g7. Let me just update my board.
And then we should jump to Hikaru's game because
Right.
a lot has changed in the last couple of moves. His position has gotten much worse.
Well, he dropped the pawn. He didn't play that very crafty queen to d6, tickling the rook, and then, as Miro showed, instead he played knight takes, queen e6, and
Maybe leaving the queens on the board was not such a good idea.
Because-
White can play just a5 right now.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Push the pawn. a5. Well, I'm looking. I mean, what can I say? I mean, the only thing I can imagine is if my knight were on f4 and by some miracle I was on the long diagonal, I
Well, if
could
someone
trick.
can pull that off, it's Hikaru.
Right. I would try to trick you, but that's what it is. It's come down to Hikaru playing for tricks to try to keep his chances alive. And is the clock a factor?
17 minutes for Vidit and 15 for Hikaru, so not really. They have 9 more moves to go.
By the way, I saw this move,
I like
rook to
that move.
d3, and I like that move as well. I mean, I am eyeballing rook d6.
And would you
knight
take
c-
another pawn on h6?
Oh gosh, yes.
Do I even have to ask?
Right? I mean, seriously? Oh, give me that. No, but there is knight c3. Am I sure that I'm
C3.
doing it
Is
right?
that knight
here?
kind of getting trapped?
How so? How is that
Oh, I
knight?
see a4 pawn is hanging.
Right?
C3.
It's still.
Feels like there's got to be a tactic here.
I know. I mean, we do have the more or less obvious queen h5, inviting knight takes c3, rook d6. But am I winning? I don't know if I'm winning.
No, I think you're giving away too many pieces.
I think so too, right? Well, hold on. So I go here.
You do have rook e8 check first.
The intermezzo. I think I'm winning
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I might suddenly end up, but I wanted to win normally, not by playing some tactical stuff. We liked a5. Vidit played rook d3, and Hikaru has just played knight to f4. He eschewed knight
Rook
to
d6.
c3. Rook d6 looks pretty darn good.
Queen f5, I'm guessing, is his follow-up.
Knight, give me the pawn.
That's unpleasant.
Yeah, knight to g4, give me the pawn. Miro, jump in on this. We've just seen the move knight f4, rook d6 on the board. Again,
They're fine on time, and
they're
they
fine
have
on time.
8 moves still move
Right,
forward.
so
no problem. But
gotta tell you, rook d3, even though computer would prefer a5 or was kind of indicating a5 to be a stronger move, I like rook d3 a lot. It's a very
Forcing.
human choice. Like, everything in the center. And let's not forget, with queens being on the board, I'd argue that black's king weakness is more of a factor than the passed pawn white has.
Exactly.
So rook d3 and knight c3 to kind of
finish the pawn.
highlight, with this, queen f3 is a bit stronger than queen h5. And the line is absolutely identical. In this case, white's winning, but there was some move after queen h5 because the knight was not hanging. So after
Gotcha.
queen f3, you also
More
kind of
forcing.
threatening the knight. Yeah, then knight f6 would be a fun line, and I mean, I'm not sure if both players seen it. g4, very strong. Queen f4, rook d4. The queen looks trapped. Black has rook c1 as his last resource, but
Right.
Hikaru would certainly find it.
Right.
But yeah, there is not much of good news for black, because after something simple like knight f3, you still have the pawn, you're threatening rook d4 to collect the other one, so this is dead lost for
Dead
black.
lost, right.
And eventually knight f4, rook d6 is very strong, and black is in a big trouble.
Hikaru played queen a2.
Queen a2, one of the computer choices, but then again, knight g4 or rook takes h6 both seem to be winning for white. Knight g4 is good.
For me, knight g4. I love that knight coming to f5 on a good day.
Wait a second.
Is there queen
Let's
a3?
let's just
Rook c1?
Yeah.
let's just check what's
Just
happening.
Rook d1.
I do have rook d1.
Rook d1.
And a good thing, too, maybe.
Yeah, rook d1, queen d1. You also guard this guy.
By
D1.
accident.
Yeah.
By good fortune.
Yeah, I'm not convinced why, but it's more than +3 in white's favor. Okay, you have one pawn, but one could
Maybe
think,
second.
okay, maybe there is some like activity for black pieces. Apparently, the king is also very weak.
That's the problem.
Yeah, so anytime soon, like, don't know, knight f6 or these kind of things, like h5, knight f6, and then you just take on h5.
Take the second
this
pawn, yeah.
This is bad. Yeah.
Right.
So Hikaru in a big trouble.
Queen a2 on the board. Knight g4 looks good. Did you investigate rook h6, though? What was happening after rook h6?
White's up 2 pawns,
In your
in my
experience?
expert opinion.
Very good. Rook takes h6. The problem is the desirable queen h5 is simply not doable.
Right. I think
Queen
it's
b1.
easier for white to simplify a little bit after knight
Yeah.
g4.
My feel,
Just
my,
to not blunder something.
Right. My pieces feel not cohesive. There's not a harmony. Queen a2, knight g4, absolutely far more sensible.
Definitely. And we have one more result in the ladies section.
happened?
One of the tournament leaders coming into this round, Tingjie, drew her game against Salimova.
And that means Tan reasserts herself at the top of the score table. And let's jump to Toronto as Salimova is with Anastasia.
We are here with Nurgyul Salimova, who just made a draw against Tingjie, was one of the leaders of the tournament. How this game went for you?
It was very tough from the opening. It was a very sharp line, and obviously I didn't know the lines very well, so it was tough for me to play. But I did not feel like I was in big trouble after the opening.
Yeah, but it looked scary for me, for example, when I saw this g4, h4 on the board. But you try to keep calm, right?
Well, I know the line, but I don't know, probably I messed up again, but it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So
showed us a few critical
yeah.
moments and explain what did you feel at certain
where
points.
can I show? How do I show?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay. Queen takes d4. I was not sure about that. I didn't remember that. So before that, I was trying to remember. Doesn't matter. Knight c5, and e5 was very weird for me because obviously after knight e6, I thought that I just don't have any problems because I mean I'll not get mated. Like I can at least trade the queens, you know. And I'm not sure about this g4 h4 because it kind of
can be weak also
weakened.
at the same time, yes?
Yes, and queen d3, knight, I cannot move.
Let's see here.
Queen d3, knight d7. Well, I thought that it's just, I'm just developing my pieces. After knight c5, bishop takes d6. Of course, I also thought about, I mean, first my idea, of course, was to take d5 when I was calculating, like e5, when she played e5. But I didn't expect queen d3. So, yeah. I don't know, maybe queen takes d8 first.
Yes, you will take with the knight?
Yes, I wanted to take with the knight takes e5 and bishop d6 probably. I thought I was fine, but
And it seems like you, after exchanging the queen's position of black, it looks quite good, yes? Here was
yeah,
the
actually
G4
now it looks better than it looked in the game, and I'm not sure why I didn't do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just fine. But like
The way you played was also fine, right, for black?
Engine doesn't think so, but for me it looked fine. I'm not sure what should go wrong. But of course now it's more dangerous because I kept the queens and you know like she will just go for long castle and g5. Yeah, maybe it's not so easy to play, but I hope that I could play at some point like queen e7, bishop d7 and long castle, worst case. Maybe it's something concrete because I think like if there's nothing concrete, I think black should be fine.
When did you relax in this game? Let's say you felt that position is fine and like you're not risking anything. You was relaxed.
I think already I was relaxed. Yeah, probably after e5 I was already relaxed. It was a very weird move for me. But yeah, here I didn't really understand that it's not so easy to play. But also for her, like now I don't let her castle. G5, okay, and this move was with the point, of course, bishop d7, just go long castle. White cannot long castle. And yes, here, knight f4, yes, felt good during the game.
Yeah, and then after exchanging the queens, yes, you managed to equalize. I mean, the game finished in draw. I was wondering, how long are you preparing for your games between the rounds? Like, what is your routine here?
I mean, I wake up, I have breakfast, and I prepare like everyone else probably, and also before tournament. But you know, like maybe you looked at my opening, so you are wondering how I'm preparing.
No, you have two great coaches with you, so.
Yeah, I have good coaches with me, and yeah, but I don't know what goes wrong in the opening. Like, I think. I don't know actually the reason.
Do you take advantage of the good weather? Are you walking around a little bit? Have you seen Toronto?
I have seen the malls in Toronto. But
it seems like.
Yeah, in the beginning it was pretty like cold and rainy and so on. But we have 2 more race days, and I will definitely walk. And there's this aquarium that I want to visit. I wanted to visit the previous free day, but my coaches, surprisingly, men decided to go to the mall. It was not my fault. You know?
For sure. Okay, have a great rest day, we hope. But okay, it's gonna be not tomorrow. Don't forget about it.
Game,
Yes, one more game to play. All the best of luck for you. Thank you for coming, and we're going back to the studio.
Thank you, Anastasia. I just wanted to jump into our game of Gukesh against Prague. Such an important game for our tournament standings. And when we had left it a long time before, it was sort of like way back here, and we had this moment, let's put it that way, where we thought that rook f6 and Gukesh trying to exploit the bishops of opposite color to launch an attack on the king side might have been a step that he could have taken. Rook b1, and then after lots of toing and froing, nothing really happened. And in the current position, I would say that Prague will be pleased with the result of the last half dozen moves. Black has improved a lot. His bishop went from
e6.
b7 to e6, where it covers 2 very fine squares on f5 and d5. The knight on g6 can clog up the diagonal with knight e5, and the rook on the a3 is just fine. So Gukesh is not in any danger of running away.
Is pressing, but Prague is defending really well.
I think so too. That's a good way of putting it. Let's jump to the game of Vidit, because Vidit made a move that, well, I kind of frowned upon, frankly. Rook takes h6, grabbed a second pawn, but at the cost of a little bit tangling up our pieces. And after the move queen b2, is Hikaru doing one of those crazy comebacks or not?
Honestly,
Miro.
hard to see.
Yeah?
Well, it'll take white to make a move out of the top 3 engine choices, but there is a move which, well, once again, according to machine, wins on a spot. Queen d7 targeting f7, and it's not much you can do, if anything, at all. Yeah, c8 is target, so you can't take the knight.
E5.
Yeah, so some knight e2 has to be played. Rook takes e2, queen c1. I don't know why it is the line, to be honest. Rook e5. Ah, well, not so fast, Miro, because it turns out, yeah, if you take back, that's a nice, nice thing. All of a sudden you get checkmated. It isn't even a perpetual check, right?
No, it's a mate.
Yeah, but what's said that after rook f6, white just wins. Yeah. No, it's not 2 extra pawns. It's rook which is hanging and a checkmate which is threatening. So
I see behind Miro it says plus 33.
Plus 33. Casual 33 pawns up for white.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that was queen d7. If you don't like queen d7, queen g4 is a move, but that's kind of the same trick. You're targeting the rook on c8, so the e5 knight is kind of not hanging.
Right.
And the third best, let's say, rook d6, but queen d6 guarding e5. But this I can imagine going wrong.
Yeah.
It's queen b7.
Say there is like this annoying move, queen b7.
Hello.
And you're threatening a checkmate. And if, say, I go f3,
careful.
somewhat naively, yeah, then once again, don't ask me why, but rook e6 pretty much wins.
Right. Wow. By the way, despite our applause, if you will, for Alireza's exchange sacrifice, Nepo got a fortress and he held it very, very comfortably, and the game has been declared a draw between Alireza and Jan, our co-tournament leader, coming to this round. And I'm not going to say a narrow escape because it didn't seem that narrow, but nonetheless a good result, a very, very good result for Nepo. And let's pause our reflections and get them from Toronto directly. Over to you, Anastasia.
Is here with us. Jan, thank you so much for joining after this game. It finished in a draw, but it seemed like you went through difficult times. Tell us a little bit what happened.
Well, I got in quite a normal position out of the opening, but then, I think I could play differently. I can basically just stay and not doing anything, but okay, I've decided, okay, why not to grab some space, and maybe that, surely this, I think, Black has a point, but I think it's very important not to allow Bishop d7 and f5 structures, so just maybe I lost the tempo with b6 move, maybe just bring everything like rook a8, immediately, and then okay, queen c6 idea is very important. With bishop on h3, I'm like taking on every time I'm taking on f4 and play f5, so it should be a decent position. Yeah, but what I did, it looked like a fortress, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like lost in 2 moves or something. But well, I had not too many options apart of like hoping for the best. Yeah.
Yeah, when he took on d7 and on d6 and played this f5, like. What did you think at this moment? Did you understand that you have to defend from now on?
No, of course. Like I think b6 was a loss of an important tempo, so I could, if I wouldn't do this move, I would be just in time, or maybe like even like better with some counterplay like f5. But okay, b6 was just, basically I skipped the move. Yeah, was not that great. But besides, well, of course, strategically I'm very dangerous. Of course, if like. Move per move, I'm in time to bring my king to whatever, to e7, play rook h8, bishop g6, bishop g8, bishop f7. I don't think I'm in any sort of danger, but it was never clear if I'm in time or not. So yeah, well, all's well what ends well, but yeah, didn't look good.
Yeah. So what about yesterday's game, today's game? Like, how do you feel after the rest day, this period of tournament?
Well, yesterday's game was very. Tough, I think, for both of us, but I think Nijat played very, very smooth game, and at some point I've thought that okay, well, White has some big initiative, but in fact, like move per move, everything worked out, and then he also managed to avoid some small tricks in the very end game, late in the game. So I don't know, like
perfect game in a way.
Yeah, of course I wasn't too satisfied. Like, yeah, I would prefer to use the opportunity, like with the white color, but yeah, he played just nice. And yeah, today is, Alireza is a great player, and well, it was obvious that the game won't be simple for me, but I don't know, I have survived, so that's already quite important.
You not only survive, you still keep the lead, and all the best of luck for Jan in the next round. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia, and again, our congratulations to Jan, as he remains the only undefeated player in the Open. We have other games going on. Wanted to just check in on the game between Nijat and Fabi for just a moment, because before he entered this ending, we really liked Fabi's position, but the position is completely different, changed dramatically from where it was before. I'm looking at the white king in the middle of the board here on the e4, and it makes a very strange impression. But the bishops of opposite color is a very large factor, and probably this game's balanced. I don't know. I mean,
so is the king on e4 very good or very bad? That's the question.
I think it's very good only because you can't get mated. Or maybe you can.
Maybe you can.
I mean, if you don't get mated, then it should actually be in white's favor. Jump in on this one, Miro. Does Fabi have any chances, first of all? Or, in fact, who does stand better?
Well, triple zeros in any possible line. And to be honest, I've lost a thread of what's going on.
Right.
A little bit, because computer says, to be honest, like computer says equal from long time ago.
Sure.
So pretty much he didn't play a5 and
Missed
white
a chance.
equalizes, and then it just goes back and forth like 0-0-3 for white and then minus 0-0-5 for black. But yeah, and the moment they've exchanged the knights, I guess, it all of a sudden turned into complete equality.
Okay.
But this is something I don't quite understand. I mean, king e5, and after king h7, king e4. What is he trying to accomplish? Like if it's some strange triangulation of some sort? Because if you think of it, this rook got stuck for quite a bit, right? The moment you move the rook, at least you lose the c5 pawn, and that's quite serious.
Right.
Could it be that all of a sudden we are talking some Zugzwangs? I don't think so, because, okay, let me try it. Like, if black plays king g6, doesn't seem so bad.
How is white is supposed to increase?
King e5, king h7, king e4, and they repeat it. So that probably means just an equal position.
Let's jump to the game of Hikaru, because that game, he did play the move
Vidit
queen
found.
d7. Vidit actually...
Engine's first line.
Right. Vidit also had queen g4 as a very tempting possibility going after the g5 pawn. Queen d7, however, hits f7, reminds black that you don't have time to play rook takes e5 because queen takes c8 would checkmate.
So Vidit turns out to be a very uncomfortable opponent for Hikaru, as he already lost his game with white pieces in this tournament.
Exactly.
And now about to lose a second time.
Right.
Even though Vidit's not having a great tournament. He lost a couple of games in a row.
That's right. So a queen d7, and this is really tough news for Hikaru. What are the clock times?
9 minutes for Vidit and 2.5 for Hikaru. But I don't think they're going to reach move 40 as game's about to be over. They have 6 more moves to go.
6 more moves to go. There was that line where we had the queen...
We have queen b3 on the board.
That's not the line that we were...
We're looking at 92, I believe.
Yeah, it was like 92 and queen c1 check, I think was our line.
So right now just queen f5 and mate. Come in with queen h7, knight d7.
Looks incredibly strong. Queen f5, guards the knight, hits the pawn.
Threatens mates.
Threatens mates down. Queen h7 and knight d7 checkmate on
I don't
tap.
see any way to defend all these threats. And queen f5 on the board.
On the board. That's a very
I
powerful
think we're
looking
about to
move.
see resignation very shortly.
Miro, how bad is it? I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10.
If you, well, it is bad, but it's like 3 computer lines are checkmate in. So mate in 18 if you're lucky to find knight g6, that you are not getting checkmated earlier than move 18. But no, I mean, it's dead lost. Dead lost for quite some time.
Wow. And for Vidit, this will be his 6th
Decisive.
game. 3 wins and 3 losses. Wow. And
What a
Canada,
roller
that is
coaster.
topsy-turvy for sure. Wow. Yeah, winning that many games. Normally you're in the top half of the tournament. But you mean knight G6, and you don't want to play knight G6.
No, you don't want to play this position, period, right?
Right.
And yeah, and even like giving a check on E2, which had some trick.
Relevance a moment ago.
Some trick a moment ago. Now White can just take on E2 and it's a
Hikaru
check.
played knight G6.
Hikaru played knight G6, and yeah, I mean, rook takes G6. It's not the tactic you need computer for, right? Rook G6, Queen G6, and just. I mean, computer sees some checkmate, but I mean, if anything, okay, just goes take, yeah.
Take everything with checks.
It's a pleasant position to play, right?
And a rook lift in this
Rook lift,
position looks very, very promising. Again, Vidit turning out to be a Hikaru slayer, as he won in the first half, as you mentioned already, but winning in the second half, that's really overdoing it. Knight G6, we expect rook takes G6. I'm sure queen takes G5. Not bad either. Too many pawns and attack for Vidit. We're just kind of on death watch here, as we would expect resignation coming up soon.
What would you do? Would you take on G6 or would you take on G5?
I'd take on
Let's say
G6.
you don't have a lot of time because Vidit has 7 minutes.
Nanosecond, I'm taking on G6. Because I'm taking all the pawns with check.
Right. Even if there's no checkmate, you have knight and 4 pawns.
Right. You know, I believe in myself.
and so does Vidit.
Yeah, and he did it.
Yeah,
Rook
he
takes
took on
G6 because it's just too compelling. I mean, and especially if you're even a little bit short of time, you make these moves because you just know that.
Rook E4? Not yet. No, this would be one. Don't do that. But actually, you can even do that because you can't take my rook. There's knight F7 checkmate.
Is it checkmate?
Okay. No, it's not.
It's not checkmate.
King H7.
Sorry. Just let the folks catch up for a moment. Rook E4, a highly desirable move. And then Nasi was correcting herself. Go ahead, take my rook. And knight F7 mate. And wait a minute, no, our queen needs to be on our G, and it's not the mating configuration we like. But he has done rook takes G6. Hikaru down to 40 seconds, but it's not about the position. I think he's genuinely contemplating resignation at this moment after rook takes G6. And
because there's nothing to think about here. It's not like he can just move the king.
Exactly. And it was incredible because Gukesh yesterday played a masterpiece, I think, against Vidit. I mean, just really, really, really great. And there you go.
That's official.
Resignation. Fair enough. Just a great game. And that just once again throws the standings. Jan is loving this. I mean, his competition keeps falling off the wayside.
Right, and let's remember, Gukesh and Pragg are playing each other right now.
Exactly.
So Nepo with 5.5 in sole lead at the moment. Gukesh half point behind, playing Pragg, who is in the 3rd place. And Hikaru, after his loss against Vidit, is now sharing 4th, 5th place with Vidit.
And even though Fabi is desperate for a win against Nijat, it looks like that game is heading towards a draw, which will mean that Fabi will be a point behind our tournament leader Jan, with the game between Gukesh and Pragg in play. Let's jump on into that game. There it is.
Gukesh managed to get the rook on the 7th, but that knight on e5 is just too strong, defending the entire position.
Exactly.
This is also looking like a draw. They might even repeat right now with rook b8, rook d8.
Rook b8, check, rook back to d8, rook back to b7, and I could easily imagine the players shaking hands in that. Let me play the devil's advocate for just a second, because there is a knight takes d3, just to be absolutely as annoying as all get out.
When?
I don't know, like now.
Oh, right now.
Like it is a little bit stupid, right? I mean, there's no reason that I should be playing such a dumb move.
Probably a losing tactic.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. Something. Well,
But I
go ahead.
don't see how.
Yes, please do. If you go Queen B6, no, that is a good move actually. I was going to go Rook D7, but I am hanging D6 in this case. So if you do go Queen B6, you can move your queen elsewhere too. I do have this move.
You don't have Bishop D6 yet. You have to take Rook D7, right?
Yes, that's right. And no, but okay.
Maybe Miro can help us. What's after 93?
I can help you a little bit. Yeah, 93.
I'm in fantasy land.
It's an interesting moment in the game because also they've reached move 40.
Okay.
So now, like
Very
40th
nice.
move was Rook to D7.
They get an extra 30-minute bonus.
Yeah, knight D3. The line you were looking at, the black actually has Queen F8, interestingly, and then will return the knight on the next move. So in this case, I don't think black is realistically better, but he holds.
He snipped the pawn.
Right, but after knight D3, Queen to B1 all of a sudden wins. Because, queen's hanging, knight's hanging, and when you protect the knight, this is where I go Queen B6.
Wow.
And it's not an easy move to find, but like if it's move 39, it might have been worse the gamble, right?
Right.
But then if your opponent gets half an hour after knight D3, it's a good chance he's going to figure out. Right, so after Rook D7, computer once again says like it's fair square, doesn't matter how you do it. After Rook B8, I'm just thinking, is it playable? What you guys think? Once again, computer claiming this is equal no matter what. But don't you get a feeling that maybe black can try, especially if white is not rushing to trade on E5 immediately? If I can keep the knight, could this be?
I think
play
it's bound.
D4 right now? Because if I can get rid of
this
that
pawn?
terrible pawn, then I won't be scared.
Rook C7 was getting something
You should still
like
be
that.
scared.
No, you shouldn't.
Problem is I
it's
got
probably
a weakness on C4 as well.
But I can take on E5 now.
You can always take on
And get rid
E5.
of it.
That's, I think, kind of secures white from being worse in any point.
Right, and besides D4, if we do King H7, Bishop takes E5. I mean, why would?
Yeah, it is equal. It is equal nonetheless.
Queen E2 to
Yes. So
E4.
white doesn't really, or rather, black doesn't really have any
alternative.
I would say, any incentive to go for King H7. Because,
Right.
Yeah, you just repeat and you insist on trading the rooks because after that you also can't lose.
Well, once again, so important for our standings. Should Gukesh make a draw in this game, he will be tied with Ian after 8 rounds of play. And for Prague, that will mean also for him, he keeps his chances alive. He's just a half a point behind with so many big games to play.
Will it mean that Prague will be clear third all of
I
a
think
sudden,
so.
like with so many results, both US players kind of falling back quite a bit?
Right.
And it was Hikaru's fault, I'm sorry. I mean, he beat Fabi and then lost to Vidit. So
Exactly.
he created the history. He would be one of the leaders, if not for Vidit, in this tournament.
Exactly.
Hikaru.
Let's just jump to the game of Fabi for a moment because, again, Fabi is kind of coming out to be our hope here. Can he pull something off, something by magic? No.
No, it doesn't look
bishops
like
of opposite color again. 18 seconds. Wait a minute.
It's going to take on D6.
What's the
This
time?
is move 40.
It's the 40th move.
So he's
Don't
deciding
fall asleep, Fabi.
to trade the bishops or keep the bishops on the board.
Bishop F7, and he did it with how many seconds?
Not sure.
It looked like 5 or 6,
5.
yes. So he just had this moment. He could have played rook takes, and that would have been a rook and pawn ending, well, however we get it. Here I'm curious. Would I play A5?
Rook C5?
Rook C5, Rook A6, Rook takes H5 check, and no, I don't think I would. I think I would just play Rook here or King G6 and accept to draw. I think the move Bishop F7 is a small indication that Fabi's keeping his hopes alive. Bishop F7.
But let's say I play Bishop F4. What can you do?
I don't think my hopes are that great, right, Bishop?
I guess you still have a pawn on the a file, so a5.
Yay. Go. Go. Do you want to trade a rook?
Sure.
And then just get behind the pawn, yeah? King g6. Our teachers would be proud of us putting our rooks behind the pawn. Looks
pretty even.
Dead. Dead, actually.
Dead even.
Yeah, when I always hate it when I ask for computer evaluation of a complicated position, they give me triple zeros. I don't have to ask about what's going on here. It looks like triple zeros.
So while this is equal, let's check with the Hampi and Lagno's game. It's a rook ending. Also looks like a draw, but could still be maybe some tricks.
And for Kate, a victory here, she gets to add herself to the mix because she was coming into the round. There were 3 players tied for first. She was just half a point behind the trio there. And what is the situation, by the way? It's 3 versus 4.
3 versus 4, so she has an extra pawn, but as we know in rook endings, 1 extra pawn is usually not enough to win.
So let's see how we do it. So hopefully it's Kate to play.
Yes.
Let me take the pawn. Yum.
I would take b4.
b4, okay. Somebody said pass pawns must be pushed. Go.
King f1.
Go f1, king f1, go. Pass pawns must, then you're going to go
Do you want to bring your king maybe first?
Yeah, then you're going to go rook
h4.
h4. I was going to go g5.
Rook h8.
And then e4.
Wow.
Okay, let's go.
That's beautiful.
Let's have fun.
That's a nice trick. So let's try rook h4.
Okay, this was where you're being kind.
Can I go? No. Rook h8.
And this is where I was being clever, that I wanted to. For Kate, this is a dream.
This is unpleasant.
Yeah, because it may or may not be winning, but boy, she's the one definitely pushing the action and having the fun. We do suspect the game is drawn, but does Humpy have to be careful? Yes.
G4.
Oh, so this is a nice setup, right?
And now the king comes zipping over. So rook h4 would have fallen for my little
let's see. Rook
trick.
h4, your line.
Yeah.
Rook h4.
I tried
g5.
Probably.
Wait a second.
Rook h4.
This is the only move that loses, interestingly.
The only...
Yeah, because, say, rook h6, you would think it's the same, and I would think it's the same, right? e4, pawn takes.
G4?
But somehow...
How is this not lost?
Somehow, I don't know.
G3?
We are learning something new every day. Yeah, this is a famous position. This is a famous position. You can't really. No.
Who's fame?
No, seriously, you can't win this one.
Right.
You can't win this one because it's always hanging. Yeah. King g7 and you go rook h4, and the more like rook g4 is threatening.
Right. Wow.
Anyway, it's too complicated. I don't think White has to allow it, but very likely, Humpy is very likely to save this one.
Very good.
So we have 3 games left, 2 in the open, 1 in the ladies, and they all look like a draw?
Yeah. Let's just see if we can't catch up to our current standings with these results, because you were just saying that this is the last game to finish in the ladies section.
Yes.
So we have, let's take a look at the open section first. We have 2 results.
Right, Nepo drew his game and remains in the lead. Gukesh still playing, hoping to catch or surpass Nepo. And Vidit had a huge win against Hikaru Nakamura.
He certainly did, as Hikaru had a point advantage over Vidit coming into today's game. Now Vidit is in a tie for 3rd. Again, as you were saying, Gukesh is at work. Fabi also at work against Nijat. In the ladies standing thus far, we have 3 results.
We have 3 results. 10 won her game and extended her lead. Goryachkina and Lei drew their game, so they are now half point behind the leader.
Right, and Kate and Koneru, we expect expect this game to be a draw, although we're having fun trying to find winning chances for Kate, and a big, crucial game that is. Once again, in the open section, the game between Fabi as well as Gukesh. Important for our standings, but we don't see how anything but draws can result.
Yes, if you ask me, I can easier see the way for black to get into trouble than to win this one.
Really?
Because, yeah, like, I mean, white plays f3,
right.
white plays e4,
yeah.
And once again, if you push it too far, at some point white plays e5.
And then starts targeting g7.
We've got both sets with all 4 rooks on the board. To imagine this pawn promoting is impossible, right? So, yeah, I'm not saying white is better, but like if black avoids all the drawish lines, then he might pick one line which leads to some problems. Like once again, Compi says go rook b5, but you don't want to trade rooks.
We have rook b5, rook c7, and rook b7 on the board.
Ah, well, so that's played already. Yeah. Okay, I mean, you go rook c7 and you agree a draw.
Exactly.
That's the end of this game.
Exactly. Rook c7 would be end of game.
So Nijat is playing very well this last rounds. Yesterday against Nepo, he was slightly worse most of the game, I believe, and he played precisely, as Nepo said in the interview as well. And today also, he was slightly worse, but it escaped with the...
My reports from Toronto were that Nepo was harsh on himself after failing to win against Nijat, and only like when he got back to the tournament, back to his room, kind of got on his computer and said, you know what, my opponent played a very decent game. I'm not upset anymore. You know, and by the way, a draw has been agreed between Nijat and Fabi, and for Fabi's fans, myself included, that 50% score after 9 rounds of play.
Actually,
we are done.
We're done. Another draw agreed with Gukesh.
Yeah, all the games have finished.
With the exception of one game.
I meant in the open section.
Yes, exactly, in the open section.
This might go for a while since Lagno. Yeah.
Let's pause our interactions and jump to Toronto. Anastasia with Fabi.
You actually managed to put pressure on your opponent. Give us some insights about the game, please.
Yeah, not very good, again. I mean, I had a good chance here to play a5, and it was my intention. And then...
Why did you decide to choose a different line?
Because I thought that he'll play, for example, here.
Yes.
They'll do something like this, I don't know, trade rooks. And then basically put his knight on d2.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to improve the position. But I should play this because, okay, maybe I can't improve. Like, okay, I attack this pawn, he goes back, and so on and so forth. But still, he has to defend forever. I mean, maybe I was worried that I wouldn't be able to improve, but he's completely passive. He can't move a single thing. So the only question is, can I do something, which I was worried about. And then, of course, I mean, I realized he could do this, but I thought tactically I would have something, and I realized that I have absolutely no ideas.
And here in this line, at least you avoid some changes, right? I mean, it seemed like you have more pieces on the board, and perhaps you can create something.
But it's a very bad moment, because I don't think I have even just realized he can play like king e1 next, like okay, even here just king e1, for example. Knight b8 is strong. Yeah, I was thinking about, and maybe here knight. The problem is, yeah, he gets like knight b8, rook b5, or I mean, I was thinking about putting the knight on a6, but I didn't see what I do next, so I don't know. Okay, I went for this tactical. I mean, he didn't even have to allow. He could play rook b2. I was at least happy that it feels like kind of tactically dangerous.
For him, yes.
I mean, it's like g5, rook takes a7, and if I could somehow create a threat, he can't free himself, but h5, h4 is very important. And I can't create a threat, so here...
So it seems like it should be something, yes, with this king on f3.
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous, but I can't really... I don't have enough pieces. I need, like, my king to enter or something to attack. Okay, it's kind of... Didn't feel like I really have ideas here.
I thought in time trouble maybe it's possible to try this, but I was also in time trouble, so it's not like he was in time trouble, but I was also. So I was trying to create some ideas. Here I thought I tricked him sort of because he can't take either way. But after king f3, unfortunately,
he takes with the rook.
Yeah,
yes.
he takes with the rook, and I don't have any moves because also rook h5 is check. So if I move my bishop, rook h5 is check. So yeah, after this moment, there was no real content. It's a terrible decision, of course.
So you think the most critical moment was here, like a5 was very important to play.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
I mean, before that, okay, I was slightly. I mean, the opening went well.
Yes.
I wasn't sure bishop f5 or rook d8, but certainly I'm a bit better. It's not a whole lot, but I was quite happy with the endgame. Just like one moment, I don't know what I was thinking, but I wanted to like play a5, and then I started to overthink it and made the wrong decision.
Yeah, this happens sometimes, of course, but I mean, what is your mood? Are you still optimistic about the tournament? Still 5 rounds to go, let's not forget.
Yeah, luckily nobody else is doing incredible things.
Yeah.
Okay, Gukesh drew, yeah? Against,
they're still playing, I think, but probably it was a draw, yes, and Hikaru lost.
Yeah, this is sort of good for the tournament situation, but it doesn't really matter because I have to play well, and haven't played really well in this tournament so far, and yesterday was a terrible game. When I looked, I mean, I felt like I was playing badly, and I was kind of losing control, but then when I looked back on it, it was even worse than I thought. Like, just so many bad decisions that I can't even count them.
Yeah, no worries. Everything is still ahead. Let's see, 5 rounds to go. We are going back to the studio. I'm sure everybody wishes you all the best of luck, Fabiano. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. Indeed, you're right. Everybody wishes you the best of luck. Let's take a look at the final standings after 9 rounds of play. Nasi, do the honors.
Right, and Nepomniachtchi and Gukesh are still sharing first place with 5.5 points, and now Pragg is in the clear third with 5 points.
As Hikaru drops out of +1, falls into that no man's land category of even, Miro. Not a very good outing. By the way, sorry, let's do the ladies' standings. We have 1 game remaining in the ladies as Kate is trying in a rook and pawn endgame to make a victory.
Right, but meanwhile Tingjie is in the clear first after her victory today, and share in second, Goryachkina and Lei.
Yeah, everything to play for in the ladies section. And Anastasia also caught up with Vidit.
Vidit, thank you for joining us. My congratulations on your victory, big victory against Hikaru. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I'm pleased with the way I played. I think it was a good game from start to finish. Maybe in the end I could have had better technique, but apart from that, I'm quite pleased.
Exactly, and he tried to play a little bit aggressively with his g5, and like, did you feel that you could use the weaknesses at certain point?
Yeah, in the opening, it looked like Black had a very comfortable position, yes. Somewhere around here. It looked very fine, like if he plays g4 or queen c8, I was thinking these 2 moves. But once he played knight h5, it allowed me to exchange the bishop, and now his light squares are very weak. So I have some long-term play. And
we liked your move rook a3 and this maneuver.
Yeah, rook a3, I thought like some bishop, knight g4, bishop g5, rook can come on the 3rd rank, and it looked really nice for me over here. And he felt the pressure. And
before, yes, also was
he
nice
made a
move,
mistake here, like rook cd8, and he's still in the game.
Yeah.
But he completely overlooked knight d5, and after this, it's just.
Actually, it felt like you were out-calculated, Hikaru. I mean, it doesn't happen that often, no? How did it feel during the game? Like, you were sure when you were going for this line, or like you really understood he missed something?
Yeah, I double-checked, triple-checked that, but I couldn't really see, and it was obvious that he missed it. Otherwise, he would never allow it. I'm just curious if there was at the end this rook c5 which we were analyzing.
Yeah, you can put it here, yes, or sorry, maybe rook c5 here. Let's.
Rook c5, yeah, g3 only move. This would have been a tough test.
Yeah, yes, g3 here.
Yeah, rook
and
c5.
Rook c5, yes, and g3.
Yeah.
Wow.
This would have been a tough test.
You didn't see this move, let's say.
I was thinking of queen d4, but maybe there he has a draw, and here knight g4 would have been probably the clean way to win. But yeah, apart from that, good game.
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that last time when you won the game, you stayed for a long time talking with guys from Chess.com India. And I mean, is it important for you, let's say, to feel attachment with your fans, with the audience?
Yeah, I always feel a sense of duty to, reciprocate or at least do my best to, because in India it's really late and they're watching it with so much passion and love. So, and they are waiting for such moments when the players come, especially after good games. So I don't mind it at all.
Are you planning to do the same now?
I don't know because I probably should go. It's kind of late today already.
Exactly, yes, okay. Thank you so much for coming, for joining us, and we're going back to the studio.
Thank you, Anastasia. Congratulations, Vidit. Miro, this was not a day for the Americans. This just probably the worst results we could have reasonably have expected.
Well,
Ouch.
You do not account for 2 losses, right, the same day.
Ouch.
Yeah, but it was painful for Hikaru.
Yep.
And there, I have, well, if not the observation, but kind of a theory. If you take someone experienced but who was under the rock and had no idea about the round-to-round results, and you show them the standings in the women's tournament, or ladies, and in the open tournament, one would not be able to guess how many draws were, or even like full drawish rounds were in the ladies tournament, and how many results we had in the open. Because you check the open, the leader has +2.
Yeah.
A bunch of people has 50%. You would expect, okay, this is the most boring tournament ever. They're just making those grandmaster draws. But while every round, even if we have a draw, it's a roller coaster.
Yes.
And we have a lot of results. And Vidit, who is back on 50%, he lost 3 and won 3. So that's unimaginable, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Not a good day for American chess fans. Let's turn to Toronto for further insights from Anastasia as we wrap up our broadcast. Anastasia.
We had another interesting day today, round 9, I mean, full of action as usually. It was really sad to see Fabi after the game. I mean, really, you could see his disappointment of not winning this position, because he was really happy of getting a really good position out of the... What to do? I mean, he still is trying to find his shape and he is fighting, and I think still everything depends on the last rounds. Hikaru lost a battle against Vidit, and still he came for the press conference and he tried to please his fans, talking about the game, analyzing with Vidit, which is, I think, is a good sign. More action tomorrow. Looking forward for it.
Yes, indeed. I'm looking at my round 10 pairings tomorrow too, and boy, we have a mouth-watering matchup between our 2 tournament leaders, Jan and Gukesh. Jan will have the white pieces going head-to-head. We'll have Aleksandra versus Li Tingjie, Tang versus Humpi. So our round 10 action is going to be brilliant, hopefully better for the Americans than the round 9. But thank you both. It was wonderful being with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all tomorrow, and good night from St. Louis.
See you tomorrow.
Ouch.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.